welcome back to my channel, or welcome. My name is Shawnee, and today I'm going to be doing a video that's a little bit different than my typical videos, and if my makeup doesn't give it away, I want to talk about pride, and even more deeper into pride, I want to talk about pansexuality, because if you don't know, I got something to tell you. So anyway, before we get into the nitty gritty about all the things I want to talk about, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button. That way you guys will be up to date whenever I upload a new video. Make sure you hit the notification bell so you know exactly at the moment I post new content. And yeah, if at the end you like everything I'm doing, make sure you give the video a like and share it if you want. So anyway, I'm coming to y'all today because I do have my makeup all done and everything. I just got done doing a pride look for my twin Adriana's pride collaboration. Her channel is going to be in the cards on whatever side this is, so make sure y'all click that and check out her channel. I can't wait until everything is ready and posted. But yeah, one thing about me, if y'all don't know this, you're gonna know this today. I don't like to waste a look. And if I already got my makeup done, a video is going to be recorded. Some kind of content is going to come out. And I want to go ahead and do this video today while I had the look on and everything. So I want to let y'all know, because we are in the great month of June. And if you, I don't know if it's US specific, I think this is, but I'm in the US and June is the month of Pride. And of course, pansexuality falls under the Pride umbrella, as it's also under the umbrella of bisexuality. So I'm going to go into detail and, give y'all the rundown on the definition of pansexuality, my own story, and how I came to this point. So I hope you guys enjoy. So first off, if you don't know what the term pansexuality means, I'm going to give you the Merriam-Webster definition first, and then I'm going to give y'all the good whatchamacallit definition. So by Merriam-Webster, the definition of pansexual is of or relating to or characterized by sexual or romantic interest, not limited to people of a particular gender, identity, or sexuality. So in other words, pansexuals tend to be attracted to everyone who falls under the category of a person. It doesn't mean that, we only date cis men or we only date cis women. We date cis men, cis women, trans women, asexual people, non-binary people. And we date other pansexuals, we date bisexual, whatever. And I'm going to give y'all a little bit more information on why I call myself pansexual versus bisexual, because that's a whole other story. Pansexuality is under the same umbrella, and you guys are gonna see the diagrams and everything like that, but pansexuality does fall under the umbrella of bisexuality. But for me, the reason that I don't consider myself bisexual is a whole other ballgame, and we're going to get into that later on. So like I said, pansexuality falls under the umbrella of bisexuality, which is people, the definition of bisexual to most people. And I'm going to tell you guys, terms change all the time. In my personal situation, in my personal experience, the way that I was brought up was that a bisexual was someone who liked cis men and cis women. And I say this because this is before I even knew that cis was a term. I'm not going to lie to you. I didn't even know what the term cis meant until a couple years ago. And, I'm going to talk about that too. But in the beginning of my journey of identifying my sexuality and what I was interested in, I was always taught that a bisexual was somebody that liked a man and you liked a woman, and that was it. And for me, that just did not fit. And that's why I still to this day align more with pansexuality. I know that bisexuality has become a more open term nowadays, but at the time that I was kind of experimenting and learning about my interests, it was just not revered that way, or it was never taught to me that way. So anyway, I think for me, I'll start off by telling you guys how I kind of came to the realization that I was pan. So growing up, I was I don't want to say I was raised to be straight, because sexuality was nothing that was ever talked about in my family at all. Like, of course, we had, well, my mom had gay friends and stuff like that, and I had known about gay people all my life or anything like that. But and I knew what the term lesbian meant, but I didn't know too much about bisexual people. I didn't know that was a thing. I didn't know that was something that was real until I want to say maybe I was in like maybe like middle school or high school. This is like around like this is when social media was starting to become very big, because to give you a time frame, I'm 25 now. I started high school about 11 years ago. I started high school in 2010, so that was 11 years ago. And at that time, this is when MySpace was slowly starting to kind of fade into oblivion. Facebook was where everybody was. We had Twitter and Instagram. Well, at this time, I didn't have Instagram because Instagram was just an iPhone only app at this time. But that's a whole other story. So social media as a whole was kind of different. Well, there was Tumblr, of course, which Tumblr, to be completely honest, I learned a lot of the stuff that I kind of know today. I kind of learned from Tumblr, but I didn't really ever know anything about bisexuality or pansexuality. And I don't even remember where I first heard the term, but it did become something that a lot of people around me and in my space kind of would discuss. I would have friends be like, oh, I'm bi, and I learned that, bi meant you liked men and you liked women, whatever. And I was just like, okay, excuse me. And so thinking in that time, I was like, okay, maybe I'm not completely straight. I do find women attractive, but before that time, and I want to say it was probably when I was in like somewhere, maybe like 10th grade, I think I kind of came to the realization. Because before that, now my hair getting to my mouth. But before that, I didn't really have a reason to think that I thought I was straight. I was like, I like dudes, that's it. But the more that I kind of thought about it, the more I kind of realized I don't just like men. I would see women that I would find attractive too. Maybe it was ninth grade. Now that I think about it, because I do remember when I was in ninth grade. this is like a sidetrack, but I remember when I was in ninth grade, I had this one like computer like editing class, and one of my friends from elementary school, she was a lesbian at the time. And I remember like me and her were like super close when we were in elementary school, and we ended up reconnecting in high school. And we were in that class together because we sat beside each other because our last names were literally like a couple letters apart. And I remember she played basketball and she always hung out with the girls on the basketball team. And I remember a couple of them, I was like, okay, they're kind of cute. So I think that's kind of when I kind of started to say, okay, maybe I'm not completely straight, but it wasn't anything that I had acted on or was really putting too much thought into at the time. It was just like, whatever. So I think the more that a lot of my friends and people that I was around were kind of like, oh, I'm bi or whatever, I think that's when I kind of adapted the term. I was like, well, I do find women attractive too. Like, I wouldn't be opposed to dating a woman. So maybe I'm bi too. But as I kind of put that bi label on myself, it just never felt right. Calling myself bisexual just never felt right to me. And for the longest time, I didn't understand why. But then I kind of came to the realization that I was somebody who I wasn't opposed to dating people outside of the traditional gender identities. And even at this time, like this is before I knew about being cisgendered or non-binary. I didn't know any of this stuff at the time. This is like 2012, maybe 2012, 2011, 2013, around this time. Even after that, like I just would realize like I didn't feel comfortable limiting myself to saying I'm just straight. And then bi just never fit because like I said, I was taught that bisexual meant that you liked a man and you liked a woman. And I was like, well, I'm attracted to a lot of people. Like I wouldn't be opposed to dating somebody who was trans. Like that's not something I'm opposed to. So I didn't like calling myself bi because it just did not fit right. Because I'm like, I like people that don't fit into man or woman, which now that I think about that, that doesn't even make any sense, but that's a whole other gambit. But I was like, I just don't, it just did not fit. So for the longest time, I would still call myself bi, but I didn't truly feel bisexual in term. So I think after that, I think I kind of just went on, I dated women like around my college time, but still dating men. And I was just like, I don't know how this term fits. I remember being on Tumblr at this time. Like I said, this is about 2014, 15, and I think I had seen the term pansexual. Now, before this, I had heard of the term pansexual. I don't know if you guys remember, but I remember at the time there was like the story about this woman who decided to marry the Eiffel Tower. Yes, sis decided to marry the Eiffel Tower, and I think she was described in articles as being pansexual. And from what I remember at this time, pansexual was described as being attracted to any and everything, pretty much. And that didn't fit for me because I'm like, I'm not wanting to marry an Eiffel Tower. I'm not wanting to have sex with my car. And I don't think that's the correct terminology, but at this time, the media would refer to these people as pansexual. I don't think they are. I don't know. I don't know what the sexuality is for inanimate objects. But if I figure that out, well, I will definitely insert that into the video. But like I said, like, I don't know that term. But if I find out what that term is called, I will insert it. But anyway, it just did not fit. But I ended up coming across an article on Tumblr. And I want to say this is maybe like 2015, around that time. So I think it was probably like 19 in 2015. And I remember seeing a post on Tumblr that basically broke down all of these terms like demisexual, pansexual, asexual. There was a better description of bisexual, just everything. And I was like, pan. And when it said, pansexual is someone who is attracted to any person, they don't care if it's a cisgender person or if they're trans or non-binary, and they just like people for who they are. And I was like, that definitely fits me more, because I feel like when I'm attracted to somebody, I'm not really attracted. I don't think about gender when I think about what I'm attracted to. And even looking back at people that I've dated in the past and stuff like that, I've dated someone from like the most girly, cis woman to a non-binary person who 1 minute they are very masculine presenting and the next they're very feminine presenting. I've dated a trans person. So for me, it just didn't feel comfortable just calling myself bi anymore. And I felt pan was the thing. So that's how I came to identify as pansexual. Now, so like I said, there's the blanket, like they call it the bisexual. I just did a thing. I don't know what I just did. But they call it like the pan, like umbrella. And basically in the umbrella of pansexuality, you have a bisexual, like obviously, like I said, a bisexual is someone who is attracted to, let me read the definition. Let me not just give my bootleg definition. I'm gonna just read the definition. So a bisexual is described as someone who is attracted sexually or romantically to people of more than one gender, or to people of similar different genders, and who identifies as bisexual. So like I said, back in the olden days, I was always taught man, woman, that's it. And like I said, that's why bi didn't fit for me. But under the bi umbrella, what I've learned, and I also learned this from watching a video today, that bisexuality it's definitely more related to pansexuality now. The old descriptions of pansexuality, like I said, pan is, you welcome everyone, and bisexuality now is more so widely recognized as accepting of everyone too. So like I said, the reason it never really fit for me is because in the past, it just didn't seem like it included everyone. But from what I understand now, it does. Like I said, some people use bi and pan interchangeably. For me, I prefer to just call myself pan. I don't see myself as bi. I don't like calling myself bi. Like I said, I'm stuck in my ways. Like, I understand that bisexuality is inclusive to everyone now. It's just not a term that I like. For me, if you like it, then it's good for you. It's just not for me. And it's just like, I don't want to say it's just a word, because it's not, because it obviously has a meaning. But like I said, if you identify more with bi, more power to you. If you identify more with pan, more power to you. But also under this umbrella, they include pansexual, omnisexual, anyone attracted to people of all genders and sexes, or regardless of sex and gender, who identifies as pan or omni. Polysexual, anyone attracted to people of many genders and sexes, but not all, and who identifies as poly. Queer, non-specific identity, describing anyone diverging from heterosexuality, monogamy, and vanilla sexuality. In a bispectrum context, it's used to convey attraction to people of more than one or many genders. I forgot to say, there are also people who can be two-gendered or people two-spirited, which is a term. So like I said, for me, I don't care if you're a good person and you're attractive and I like you and you like me, it's cool. Also fluid attraction, which changes or might change over time towards people of various genders. And to be completely honest, I feel like though I do consider myself pan, I feel like I'm kind of dipping more into the fluidity, the fluid pool, but I'll get into that in a minute because I don't know. Quarantine gives you a lot of time to think about stuff and to think to yourself. So I'll get to that later in the video. But also homoflexible, lesbian flexible, people who are usually attracted to people of gender similar to their own, but might occasionally be attracted to people of genders different from their own. Then there's heteroflexible, people who are usually attracted to people of genders different from their own, but might occasionally be attracted to people of genders similar to their own. And then also they have bicurious, which describes people who are usually gay, lesbian, or heterosexual, and who are curious about experimenting with people of genders different from their own preference, from their usual preference. And other bi identities include bro-romantic, pan-romantic, bisexual, pansensual. Not going to say that word because it's a slur. A bike, bisexual lesbian, ambidextrous, anthrosexual, multisexual, gender blind, homosexual, and many more. Half those terms I've never heard before. Like I said, this is a diagram by Shiri Esner on Tumblr, and you can read her name down below. Like I said, their name has a slur for lesbians in it. I am not a lesbian. I'm not going to reclaim that slur. I'm not going to say it, but you can read, have eyes. But yeah, so there's like so many other terms that bisexuality falls under. So like I said, I do identify more with pan. And like I said, once I kind of came to the conclusion that I felt more comfortable in my sexuality because I finally had a name for it and I finally felt like I belonged, and that's how we are now. I guess now I'm going to go and I'm going to talk to you guys about changes in that attraction now. Now, like I said, I do consider myself pan, but I have actually scratched that. We're going to talk about something completely different. So the next thing we're going to talk about is bi and pan erasure. So if you don't know what bi and pan erasure is, I'll leave a description, but pretty much bi and pan erasure is something that people in the community go through a lot because unfortunately, and this, you would think that this only happens to queer people, bi, heterosexuals, but it also happens in our community too. There's a lot of erasure of bi and pan people because people are ignorant. And one way that bi people and pan people are erased is because people assume that because you're attracted to multiple people, like they think that it's impossible to be attracted to multiple people, and that you can only choose a side. Like you have to choose a side. Like, and they assume like if I date a cis man today, oh she's straight, or if I date a lesbian woman tomorrow, oh she's a lesbian. Let me stop doing that because I'm equating sexuality and gender, which is two completely different things. That's a whole other topic. But if I dated a cis lesbian the next day, they would think, oh, I'm a lesbian, which is not true. I'm still pan no matter who I date. If I date a trans man, I'm still pan. If I date a trans woman, I'm still pan. If I date a non-binary person, I'm still pan. It doesn't matter who I'm dating. That does not take away from my identity. And there's the people that feel like you have to choose a side, like it's impossible. Like, also people conflate bisexuality, pansexuality. They think that if you're bi or pan, you're not monogamous, which is a whole other ballgame. Because listen, I'm pan, and I'm very much a monogamous person. I don't want a boyfriend and a girlfriend. Separate times maybe, but no. Me and my friends watch Seeking Sister Wife and all these shows, and I'm just like, good for them, but it couldn't be for me because I just need to be the only one. And at this current time in my life, I'm not interested in being in a poly relationship, polyamorous, polygamy, none of that. I like to be a not me saying monoracial. Oh my God. No, not monoracial. That's a whole other term. I want to be in a monogamous relationship. And just because I'm pan, just because I'm attracted to, I don't want to say I'm attracted to everybody. That doesn't mean I want to be in a relationship with everybody at the same time. So that's another misinterpretation that a lot of people have about pan and bi people, which is very annoying. Because, yeah, there are some bi people who might want to be in a non-monogamous relationship, but you can't equate me being attracted to two or more genders or identities to me being a polygamist. No, polygamous is the wrong term. But don't just assume that means that I want to be in a polyromantic relationship just because I have all these attractions. It's very ignorant, but it's a thing that happens a lot, unfortunately. And bi erasure is very real. You have people, like I said, if someone is bi or pan, and let's say we have a cis bi woman who decides to be in a marriage with a heterosexual man, a cis hetero man, people will assume, oh, they'll assume like, oh, she's, and I'm gonna use this term because someone close to me was called this term, but they'll call them slurs like a breeder or, oh, you're fake, like you're not really bi, you're straight. And like I said, you cannot take away someone's identity by how they present in their relationship. So bi erasure is very real. Like people do that. And like I said, you would expect these things to come from like cis hetero people, and no, it comes from people in your own community. It's very real. And I feel like a lot of times it kind of makes things like dating a little bit harder. Like I said, I'm a cis woman and I'm pan, and I have dated lesbians and I've dated straight men. And one thing that I've found more recently is you kind of deal with like gold star lesbians and just lesbians in general. Sometimes they do not want to deal with this. And it kind of goes back to what I said, like a lot of the phobias and the fears that if I get with this pansexual or this bi woman, she's going to want to be a cheater and she's going to be talking to all these other men and women at the same time, which is so ignorant. Like I said, if it's not somebody who's already in a poly relationship, don't assume that I'm going to be that way because of how I identify my sexuality. And for me, like I said, a gold star lesbian is like a lesbian who only wants to date like complete lesbians. Like they don't want a bi woman, they don't want a pan woman, they don't want like a demi. Well, I don't want to. We're not going to say that. They don't want somebody who is not already identified as a full-blooded, bona fide lesbian. If she's ever touched another non-lesbian, no, disgusting. Which, of course, let me say this, because I feel like this is a thing that happens a lot. People are allowed to have their opinions. People are allowed to have their preferences, as long as it is not stopping you from living your life, as long as they're not persecuting you, as long as they are not putting their hands on you. People are allowed to have whatever preference they want. Yes, it may be ignorant as hell. Yes, it may be downright disgusting. But as long as it's not impinging on your rights to exist, you have to let people have their preferences. And I know that might catch me some flack. That's fine. I understand. But like I said, I see this a lot with people who are like, how dare you not want to date me because I'm XYZ? And it's like, that's their right to not want to date you. Now, if they're harassing you or threatening you or, taking away from your rights in any way, if they're like, harming you, then their preference is null and void. But as long as they're not affecting you personally, as long as they're not doing something to stop you from living your life, you just got to let people have their preferences. And I've known people who get so upset because they're pan or they're bi and a lesbian that they're attracted to doesn't want them because they're a gold star. Yeah, it sucks that they're that way, but it's like you got to find people that want you. And I think it's ignorant. I mean, I do. I feel like, but that's their right. And as long as they're not over here beating, pan and bi people, like, no, this is wrong, then it's fine for them to have that preference. Like, it is ignorant as hell, like I said. I think, for me personally, I'm like, why limit? You could have the best person ever, the best significant other, the best spouse, whatever, and you don't even know because you don't want to give them a chance because they're not a gold star lesbian. And like I said, I've experienced that. I haven't experienced it directly, but I have had times where I was talking to people who happen to be lesbians and, they ask me if I am. And I'm like, well, no, I'm pan. And then it just, communication stops, which it's annoying. But like I said, it's fine because it's their preference and I can't force anybody to want me. But it does kind of suck sometimes because it's like, well, damn, am I going to be stuck to only date other pan people? Like, pan people. I'm sorry, the puns. But it's like, I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to it, but if I do find myself attracted to somebody who happens to be lesbian, I do have to worry sometimes. Are they going to want to pursue a relationship with me because I'm not a lesbian, or will they not? But like I said, that's something I've kind of noticed a lot more in recent times, especially during quarantine, talking to new people, and considering things and then kind of having that be the thing or having people question and be like, oh, what does that mean? And then just be like, mm. But like I said, at the end of the day, like you can't force anybody to want you and it does kind of suck sometimes, but it's fine. But my last relationship was with a lesbian and we were pretty good, no complaints. But yeah, like, and I kind of to get into that, like I said, with bi erasure and like the phobias and stuff, I do feel like sometimes as pan or bi people, I do feel like we kind of, in a way, I don't want to say we have it easier than other groups in the community, but we kind of do because sometimes if we're in a relationship that is the opposite of our presentation, and I mean that, like, for example, I'm a cis woman. If I'm in a relationship with a cis man, no one's gonna no one's gonna say anything about me being pan. No one's gonna assume that I'm pan. If they see that, they're just gonna assume, oh, I'm in a heteronormal relationship. They're gonna make that assumption. And yeah, it's not okay because it is pan by erasure, but I don't feel like I would, it's not something that I would outwardly need to correct it, that I would outwardly need to come out. And this is, I'm gonna talk about coming out too, because like I said, we kind of have it easier if we're in a relationship that's the opposite of us, because no one's ever gonna question that we're queer. No one's ever gonna question that, something's off because we're in a hetero-presenting relationship. You wouldn't know that I was pan if I was walking down the street with this man. You would not know I was pansexual unless you asked me and I told you, or if you saw my eye, you saw this makeup, you know, like, but you probably just might be like, girl, she like a damn clown, but whatever. But I feel like we do have it easy in that way because sometimes we can kind of avoid the whole coming out thing, which I'm not saying that's a good thing. For me personally, I have not had to come out to my family or anything like that because they've never really experienced me in a relationship with someone of the same gender expression that I have or who presents as feminine. So I've never really had to worry about that just yet. I don't know if or when I would have to, but I do know that if, like I said, if I was in a cis relationship, I would never have to do that because I would be in a cis presenting relationship. Even though I'm not cis, no one would question because I was with somebody that was. So I do, like I said, I do feel like in some ways it's easier because we don't have to feel the rush to come out. Now, if you want to, then yeah, but it's like, there's no reason for me. So at this time, I'm not out to my close family or friends that I've known for a long time. A lot of them don't know because, like I said, they've never experienced me in a relationship with someone who wasn't a man. So I don't really have the necessity to do that. But I mean, I feel like it's not really something I'm pressed on because, like I said, I don't really have to because I'm also somebody who's very private in my relationships and situationships anyway. So it's never been something that I've had to directly come out and say. But if it were to ever get to that point, I don't know what I would do. I don't know what I would do. But yeah, so that's something to think about. And I guess my last little thing I want to say before I get out of here is sexuality and sexual identity is forever changing. You heard me say the term fluid earlier. I feel like sexuality, gender, sexual identity or gender identity, I feel like it's very fluid because it's a whole other it's a whole other thing. But like I said, for me, being in quarantine, I've even though I consider myself pan, I feel a little bit like I've been questioning a lot. Am I pan? Because lately I find myself being more attracted to women. So I'm like, am I still pan? Am I a lesbian? I don't think I'm a lesbian. Okay, I don't. I know deep down I still find men attractive, even though they get on my fucking nerves. I do still find men attractive, but I think at this point in my life, I'm more interested in women. And my last two relationships happen to be with women. And I don't know. I just can't really see it for cis men at this point. I don't know. Maybe the problem is that I'm attracted to cis men mostly. I don't, or I attract cis men, I guess I should say. But I don't know. It's like lately, I just be wondering. I'm just like, I don't know. Maybe I'm kind of leaning more on this side than this side. But that's why I say that sexuality is fluid. It can change at any moment, anytime. Like it's not a given. It's not a guarantee. I don't think you wake up one day and you're like, I'm gonna do this, and this is me forever. I feel like as times change and everything like that, I feel like there's just room for growth and room for change. So yeah, I don't know what to say about that just yet. But yeah. But yeah, that's just kind of where I'm at this current moment. And it could change. Maybe I'll be full blown attracted to I'm lying. It'll never happen. But yeah, I think that's all I had to say. I hope you guys enjoyed my little talk about my identity and being pansexual. And I hope that you guys are enjoying Pride. We're 9 days into the month. Hope you guys are being safe. You know, COVID still exists. If you are going to Pride or, you know, any events, keep your mask on. Don't cough on people. Don't be dry humping people. Why are y'all dry humping people on Twitter? Why am I seeing all these people dry humping people in public? What is wrong with y'all? We're still in a pandemic. Okay. I mean, a panorama. Oh my God, I said the word. But yeah, it's still a thing. So keep your mask on, stay 6 feet apart. Like, yeah. I've never been to any Pride like parades or anything like that, but I really want to go one year. I don't want to go this year because it's coronavirus. Like, I don't want to go. But yeah, I don't think I have anything else to say. If you guys enjoyed this video, you know, leave a comment down below. Are you under the LGBTQA plus community? Are you straight? I don't know. Was this informative? If you didn't know things about pansexuality or bisexuality, did I teach you something you didn't know? I don't know. Do you have your own story? Are you out? Well, no, don't out yourself in the chat if you're not already out, but have you questioned your sexuality or your expression or I don't know. Leave me comments down below. And if you like this video, make sure you leave it a like. And yeah, share it with your friends or I don't know. Also, if you guys are not subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so that you know whenever I'm going to post the next time. And yeah, if you have any questions, leave them down below. I love you guys and bye. Happy Pride.